Today we are going to learn how to make our Flower Power Small Flower Motif. And this one can be made with either 4 colors or 3 colors, but all the flowers are done the same. They have 6 petals. The first variation that we're looking at has the 4 colors. 1 for the center, 1 for the petal color, and 2 background colors. Another variation just has 1 background color, which gives it a total of 3 colors. So let's get started. The first thing we have to do is make the center. And first we start with a slip knot. Put it on our hook, and we're going to chain 5 using both the feeder yarn and the yarn tail. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'm going to return to the very first stitch over here, and I'm going to slip stitch into it. This forms a ring. And by working the 2 ends together to form the ring, we actually weave in the end. Now I'm going to chain 2, because as I said, this is made with half double crochets, and chain 2 is the right height for a half double crochet stitch. We are going to then put 11 more half double crochets into the ring. The chain up counts as the first half double crochet. So this would be number 2 and 12. Slip stitch to the top of the chain up to close the round. And that is the center of our small flower. We just want to end off and pull the loop through. Make sure you weave the end in before you move on to the next color. Okay, we have our center completed with the yarn tail woven in. I'm going to insert my hook under any of the 2 top loops of any of the stitches around, and I'm going to pull up a loop in my petal color. And I'm going to drop off the end, the yarn tail, and insert my hook under the next 2 loops of the next stitch and pull up a loop and complete a single crochet. Now I tightened the yarn tail a little bit, and I'm going to hold those together for the next sequence. I'm going to chain 8 using both ends, not too tightly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The reason I don't do it too tightly is because I'm going to roll this over and work in the back loops of these stitches, and it would be difficult to get into them if it was too tight. So count 5 stitches from the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to do a treble crochet, which is 2 yarn overs the hook. Insert the hook under the 3rd loop on the back, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. So we've just completed a treble crochet. Now we're going to do a double crochet in the next stitch. A half double in the next stitch. Now this one I'm trying to get under both those loops of the yarn that I worked together. And this is getting kind of difficult, but there we go. Half double crochet. And in the final back loop of the final stitch, I'm going to work a single crochet. Then I'm going to work a single crochet in the exact same stitch that I last did the other single crochet on the flower center. So I'm going to work 1 single crochet there, 1 into the next stitch, and then I'm going to start my next petal on the next one by working a single crochet. Chain 8. Now, once again, we're going to roll it over, and in the 5th stitch, from the hook, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in the back loop, I'm going to work a treble crochet. Yarn over and do a double crochet in the next back loop. Yarn over and do a half double crochet in the next. And finally, work a single crochet in the last back loop. Now once again, we're returning to the flower center, and I'm going to work one single crochet in the very same stitch that I last did it in. I'm going to work one more in the next stitch and one more to start the next petal. Now let's look at what we have. We have 2 petals, and in between we have one single crochet, and that's exactly what we wanted to get. And here we started our next petal. So when I get all the way over here, I'll rejoin you. Okay, we're just making the single crochet in the last single stitch, and now we're going to tie down that petal by working a single crochet in the very same one that we had started the petal with, and then one where we had pulled up the loop. Okay, so now let's look what we have. We have the first row of the petals. And now we're ready to move on. Now we're not going to turn or anything, but we are going to locate the first single crochet of the petal. And that's the base one right there. Not the one that's in the petal or in the flower center, but the one that's sideways. And that's right here. That's the same one that we had to find when we were doing the large flower motif. Okay, so we're going to insert our hook under those 2 loops. We're going to work a single crochet, and then we're going to go into the very same space and work another single crochet. In the half double crochet, that's the base of the half double crochet, we're going to work a half double crochet. Now this is tight because we used 2 strands of yarn when we first did this chain. Then in the next one is the double crochet. We're going to work a double crochet in the double crochet. And in the very next stitch, which is the treble crochet, we're going to work another double crochet. Very, very similar, just not as many stitches as the large flower motif. When we get to the tip of the petal, we find that space, and we're going to work 9 double crochets into that particular space. That's 1, 9. Okay, now we've made it around the tip of the first petal, and on this side we have a treble, a double crochet, a half double crochet, and a single crochet. And so in the top of the treble we are going to work a double crochet, and we're going to work a double crochet in the top of the double crochet also. Then we're going to work a half double crochet in the top of the half double crochet, and then lastly we're going to put 2 single crochets into that single crochet. Now we're going to go and skip 1 single crochet on the main flower center part and just tie it down with a slip stitch between the petals. So that is our first petal. Then you begin the next petal, and I want you to continue all the way around the last 4 petals, and when we get over here I will join you for the next round. In the last single crochet, we still need to slip stitch between the petals to tie down that petal, and now we are going to chain 1. You do not want to cut your yarn at this time because we have to go on the back, and just like we did on the large flower motif, we need to go on the back and create a little box around the center so that we can transition from a 6 pattern to a 4 pattern. If you look carefully around the flower center, there are actually 18 single crochets in that flower center. So if you take 18 and divide by 4, you have 4 with 2 remainders. So at one point you're going to skip 3 and work in the 4th, and then alternately you're going to skip 4 and work in the 5th single crochet. But we can do it very easily just by looking at it. So the first thing I want you to do is insert your hook around the post of the stitch directly below where your yarn is coming out and do a slip stitch. Now chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you will either count off your stitches. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and go into the 4th stitch and around that post, pull up a loop and pull through to do a slip stitch. Now you're going to chain 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can either keep counting your single crochets around the base of the flower, or you can just chain your 5, lay your little side out on your square and say, yep, it's about right here. And then slip stitch around that post. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. To make this square kind of even, we'll probably work right here. So we're going to go around this post, slip stitch around the post, pull up the loop, chain 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is an easy one because you're just going to return to your original stitch on the round and slip stitch to it. Sometimes this is a little awkward, but we'll get it there. Okay, that was easy, wasn't it? Now we have a little box on the back, which makes each of the sides makes a loop, and we'll be working in that loop on the next round, just like we worked on the large flower motif, where we went from 5 to 4. Now we're going from 6 to 4. Okay, so I'll join you when we finish weaving in this end. Okay, we're ready to start our background motif. Now if you turn it over, it looks very, very familiar. These are the same rows as we did on the large flower motif, with one exception. On the large flower motif, the last row was a half double crochet row. But because we put the half double crochet row at the center of the flower, this becomes a double crochet row just like the rest of them. So let's start. With the flower facing forward, the right side facing you, fold down one of the petals so you can get back to this loop and find any of the loops. You want to pull up a loop and then chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Pull your yarn end through, which will be woven in later. That chain 3 counts as the first double crochet. Now we're going to work 2 more double crochets into the same space formed by that loop on the back. We're going to chain 2 to form a corner. And then we're going to work 3 more double crochets in that same space. Now, we're at the point right between the 2 loops. We're going to chain 1 to span that little gap. Now we're going to work 3 double crochets, chain 2, here's the chain 2 for the corner, and 3 more double crochets into that very next loop. We are going to chain 1 to span the gap between the 2 loops, and we're going to continue in the same fashion by working 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets in each of the remaining 2 loops. I'll meet you at the end of this round. Okay, we're just finishing up the last stitches on this round. Now, because we have to span this gap, we need to end with a chain 1 and then slip stitch to the top of that chain up. So let's turn it around and see what we have. On the first round of the motif background, we have 4 corner spaces and 4 side spaces. Now, we're going to work this, as I said, just like we did the large flower motif. I am going to chain 3 to represent the first double crochet, and now I'm going to work 1 double crochet in each stitch to the corner space. So, and then this one, and I'm at the corner space, the first corner space. So I'm going to work 2 double crochets into the corner space. I'm going to chain 2 to form the next corner space of this round, and I'm going to work 2 more double crochets into this corner space of the round below. Okay, so now we've made our first corner and started our second side. But I am going to continue to work 1 double crochet in each stitch. So that'd be 1 here, 1 here. That first one is kind of hidden in the space, at the space. So there's the first, the second, third, 1 into the space, okay. Now we're at the next corner space. So we are going to work 2 double crochets in the corner to end this side. But before we go on, let's look at what we have. We have 2 double crochets in the corner space, 1 in each of the stitches along the side. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 2 more, which makes 11. 11 along each side. Doesn't that sound familiar? That's exactly the right number of stitches we need on each side. So, we're going to do the same around the entire row. 2 in the corner, 1 in each of the stitches along the side, and then 2 in the next corner. And I'll meet you when we get to the end of this round. And as I always suggest, on these ones where you're half doing the first part of the round, or the side, and half on the second, you want to count your stitches to make sure you have all your stitches. And we need to place 1 into that space, and let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's perfect. We can finish by slip stitching into the top of the chain 3. But let's double check our work. We're going to turn it over and just take a look what we have. We have 11 stitches on each of these sides, and so we're ready to go on to the next round. In this one, we're also going to work double crochets, so chain 3 to represent the first double crochet. Now, since this is a smaller flower, this is the round where most of the tailor tacking is going to occur, and we're going to do it just like we did before for the big flower. So you'll be doing it on this round and the last round. So let me see. I think I'm going to just hold off for a minute. I'm going to work 1 double crochet in each stitch along this side. I think this is where I want to place it. Yes, I think so. And I'm going to insert my hook, just as a reminder, insert my hook under the back loop of the petal row and catch that bar that goes across the back. That just gives you a little bit of substance to pull your stitch through. Otherwise, you might pull that loop and it'll elongate the loop and it'll look funny. So now we're going to complete working our stitches to the corner. We're at the corner space, but I want to see if I need to add one more here. I think I might add one more tailor tack here. There we go. Now I'm going to work 2 double crochets into the corner space, chain 2 to form the next corner space for the next round, for this round, and then 2, let me see, here's another way to do the tailor tack. We usually do them at the top, but occasionally it makes sense to do them at the bottom. So we're going to be going into that stitch, but before we go into that stitch, we're going to catch the back loop and that horizontal bar and insert it into the space, because we are on the point where we are doing 2 double crochets to start this round. Then we're going to work 1 double crochet in each stitch along the side. 1, 2, see, there's our corner. Now, because the petals are so dense on this particular small flower motif, you only have maybe 4 stitches before you almost need to do another tailor tack. So we're going to do this one here. That looks good. And we're going to continue on. Now this gets a little awkward, so you need to fold that petal forward to expose the stitches you need to work into. And then fold it back out and see, not yet, we'll go a little bit further. This looks about right. Yes. Doesn't it lay out nice? Now we're going to continue to work. One here. And let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Perfect. We can close this round up with a slip stitch in the top of the chain up at the beginning. And we can go right into chain 3, to do the final round. Now, just like we had 15 on the last one, we add 4 to that, and we're going to be looking for 19 stitches on each side on this round. Now, because the flower is actually the smaller flower motif, you'll just go walking along this side and say, oh yeah, I can put a tailor tack there very easily, or not, because it'll all be contained. Okay, so this one will be an easier round. All right, we're getting to the end. Let's turn it over and see what we have. 1, 18, 19, perfect. Slip stitch into the top. Cut our yarn and pull our loop through. Of course, we're going to weave it in the yarn end, and we now have a small flower motif. Thank you for watching. If you like what you see, please click my picture to subscribe. Happy crocheting!